Well, good evening. My name is Ben Maini. I'm the vice chair, and I would like to call this meeting to order. This is a zoning board of appeals meeting for the town of Monroe. Today is December 3rd, 2024, and it is 7:04 p.m. Just for the record, I will take a roll call for the members of the commission, so it's on file. So I'm Ben Maini, vice chair.
Brendan Liberati, alternate.
Claire Biagioni, alternate.
Hi, Sarah Harris.
Ron, your mic is off.
Sorry about that. Unmuted. Ron Stomack.
Yeah, clear. So is that 5 total?
Did board member Lee, did you introduce yourself?
Margaret Lee, alternate.
Okay. Thank you. So the meeting,
And I'm so sorry, Kathleen Gallagher, planning and zoning administrator.
okay, that's the full crew. The meeting procedures. The meeting will be conducted electronically in compliance to state law, Public Act 21-1. As such, the meeting is being recorded and will be available for public in compliance with state law. If you are attending remotely, please remember to mute your microphone unless speaking. Anyone participating remotely should state his or her name and title at the outset of each occurrence such that person is speaking. All votes taken during which any member of this body are participating remotely shall be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. The chat feature will not be utilized nor considered during this meeting. In the normal course of the meeting, we will hear public hearings and other applications. The protocol for the public hearings is to have an applicant make a presentation to the commission, during which and after which the commission will be asking the applicant questions. I ask the applicants keep their presentations to as concise as possible. The commission will then review town staff and other independent comments. The meeting will then be open to public comment. I will ask that all comments be made to the chair or the commission. After all comments, pro, in opposition, or in the general nature are made, the applicant will be given an opportunity to respond. Please keep comments and questions direct, or at a time limit of 3 minutes may be imposed. It is not necessary that the applicant respond, but generally in their best interest to do so. There will be no further opportunity for new questions unless the new material is entered in as evidence or testimony during their response. And keep all comments, pro and con, specific to ZBA related matters. As far as I know, this is the only matter being heard tonight. So we will read the public hearing. Kathleen, would you like to read the public hearing?
Let me unmute myself. There we go. Sorry, wrong place in the file. In accordance with the Connecticut General State Statute, Section 8-7D, a public hearing will be held on December 3rd, 2024 at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter concerning the following. ZBA, application ZBA 2024-08, file number 1429, 230 and 240 Hammertown Road, application for a proposed variance of section 3.3.4A to reduce the minimum lot area from 2.9908 acres to 2.6535 acres located at 230 and 240 Hammertown Road. This was published in the Voices twice. This was published in the Voices twice for the town of Monroe. A side note moving forward for anybody that is on this call and hearing it from the public, this is going to be our last notification in the Voices. The Voices is no longer posting legal ads, so any legal ads for public hearings for Zoning Board of Appeals and other commissions will be in the CT Post. So moving forward, all legal notices are going to be in the Connecticut Post.
Thank you. So we'll move on to the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Chairman, yep. I don't know if you were, I was waiting for, you wanted me to start or you're ready?
Yeah, I was going
way.
to say, go ahead.
Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Raymond Rizzio, and I'm happy to be before you tonight. I have an office at 10 Sasko Hill Road in Fairfield, Connecticut. I'm representing both the Bosleys of 230 Hammertown Road and the Tozinskis at 240 Hammertown Road, who have an application before you tonight to reduce the acreage on the lot of the Bosleys from 2.9908 acres to 2.6535 acres. Kathleen, if Chris Russo, I think, is going to share the screen with me, he'll just put up our exhibits. So this is our presentation tonight. This is the way we would like to see the lot split. Now, the Tozinski's lot is only, which is next door at 240, is 1.02 acres, which is a non-conforming because this isn't a 3 acres. For some reason, this area, Hammertown Road, has a lot of 1 acre lots, other, different size lots, but so the Tozinski's lot is non-conforming. As you can see, one of the issues that we're trying to clarify tonight, we're first of all going to increase we're going to decrease the non-conformity of the Tozinski's lot and also eliminate the encroachments that came over time that weren't spotted. And I'll explain to you why they're there. If you can see, the Tozinski's lot is of a sits up on a hill, and the driveway, as you can see along where the dotted line is, starts on Hammertown, but then cuts into the Bosley's lot and comes across so that it kind of runs up the hill along the slope so that it can then enter back onto the Tozinski lot and into their house. They've also an area that has been used for fencing and lawn that they have maintained over the years and was maintained by the previous owner. So what we're trying to do is eliminate encroachments, and we're not creating any additional lots, so nobody's looking for anything except to basically kind of legalize what is currently there. And now probably the question gets, how did we get here? So Chris, if you can go to the first for the 240 Hammertown Road. So back in '83, the house that Tozinski's bought, they bought from the original owner. And when they bought this house, this was the only map they had. And all those conditions that you saw on the previous map or the map that we submitted tonight exist when they as when they bought the home. So the original owner built this. When they bought it from the builder at the time, I think what's happened in Monroe back then is you needed to get a CO, you'd get a foundation permit. The building inspector would come out and make sure that the foundation met all the setbacks, and then they issued a CO without an as-built, complete as-built of all improvements. So this was the only survey that was ever done on the Tozinski's property, 240 Hammertown Road. The best of their knowledge, there were no encroachments. They purchased the house from the original owner, purchased the house in 1983. The Tozinski's bought from them in 2021. What happens next is the Bosleys then went out and got a survey of their own property, And could we go to the Bosley 2023 survey? The Bosleys get a survey in 2023. And lo and behold, well, this is what, okay, we'll go back to that 2023 survey. In 2023, the Bosleys get a survey and go, whoa, boy, look at this. Your driveway's encroaching onto our property, and you've been maintaining and taking care of a lawn and fenced-in area that is also on our property. As you can see, this is a heavily wooded area. It's a sloped area. The lots are very unique in shape, which is, so as we talk hardship on zoning, we talk about topography, we talk about uniqueness, shape of the lots. And in this instance, the lots are both uniquely shaped and the topography is very difficult, which I think led the builder to kind of slope the driveway up, not realizing that he was crossing the over onto the adjoining property 40 years ago. So this has been basically going on. This situation has been in existence for many years. And what we like to do now is correct it. You got a couple issues here that now that everybody knows about this, should the Bosleys want to do anything with their property, they would have to disclose that that they have an encroachment. And the Tozinskis would have to say that their driveway doesn't necessarily exist on their property. Additionally, if the Tozinskis were needed to move their property, because, Chris, if we go to the picture, because of the difficult slope and topography of the Tozinski lot, it'd be very hard to get a driveway on their property and maintain the proper slopes that are required by the driveway regulations in the town of Monroe. So as you can see, there's a mistake that happened 40 years ago. There, that gets a better feel for what we're dealing with. So you got a mistake that happens 40 years ago, which was probably compounded by the topography, or created because of the topography, but then not discovered till 40 years later. And we're before you tonight to try and straighten this issue out. What's important to note is, one, the Tozinski property will be more conforming, will become less non-conforming, put it that way. And although we'll increase the non-conformity of the Bosley property, when you look at, let's go back to the survey that we submitted tonight so that we can show the board how conform. The Bosley property is still so oversized. If you can look at its coverage is 3.8%, even after the piece of the property comes off. They are nowhere near any of the setbacks. There is no chance that we're going to have an issue that the transfer of this portion of the property will create any nonconformity. Basically, the Bosleys would have to their house would have to get to about 10,000 square feet, even if that probably is probably would still maybe 15,000 square feet. I apologize, because they have 10% lot coverage. You can see the setbacks are 267, 126, and 117, and they have plenty of lot frontage. So therein lies the request for our variance. It's governed by, in the state of Connecticut, in Vine versus the CBA Brantford, reduction of a nonconformity can serve as a reason for a variance and a hardship. The additional hardship is the unique shape of these properties, which gave rise to a mistaken driveway installation that really wasn't even picked up by the town when they issued the CO 40 years ago. And the unique shape of the lots. If you look at the shape of the Tozinski lot, and then even if you look at the shape of the Bosley lot, you can see where this mistake could have occurred. So all of this we believe gives rise to a hardship if the regulations were strictly enforced. Another test would be that does it have any negative impact on the neighborhood? Absolutely not. Secondly, we're not depreciating any values of any properties. Thirdly, we believe that that this is really consistent with your master plan, and and most importantly, this variance doesn't give rise to any additional lots or actually make any property closer to having any other variances in the future. So that's pretty much it. We're trying to resolve these 40-year of encroachment issues. No one's really benefiting or gaining much land other than what they thought they had. And this will what will happen is this, what is it, 3373 piece of property, which is 4,000, will be merged with the Tozinski lot. And then there'll be no encroachments that exist on either lot. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I tried to take it through. I'm sorry if I was a little methodical, but I thought to give you the historical perspective of how we got here, show the differences in the topography and the issues that arose from basically probably arose from today this would never happen. What would happen is they'd have to show all the improvements before they got a CO. A CO would not have been issued until the driveway was totally on the property. But that's the difference between 1983 and 2024. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission has.
Thank you, Ray. Any other comments from the applicant?
I think that's it.
Any questions from the public? Is there anyone from the public that wants to comment? Okay. Doesn't look like anyone else is on. Any questions from the board?
I don't know about question, but I certainly like to comment. The alleged hardship here is that in the future sale of either property, this nonconformance would slow everything down, perhaps prevent transfer of the property. I think that in itself would constitute a legitimate hardship, particularly since it was not created by either party. Both parties presently involved did not own the property at the time that the error was made. It also does not change the nature of the neighborhood, and nor does it seem to create any future two pieces of property that would benefit from a granted variance financially. I generally think this is a reasonable case for granting a variance.
Someone joined by phone. I'm not sure who that is. Is that from someone from the public? All right. Is any other questions from the board before we close the deliberations?
I
Any other
have
questions from the board?
one.
Brandon?
So it said in the letter that you're reducing several nonconformities on 240 Hammertown Road. One of them would obviously be the lot area, but I was just wondering what the other ones were.
We have the encroachment issues
Mhm.
in the lots. So the lot that was created back in the 80s, if you look at the Tozinski lot, it's, I think, Chris, if you can pull that up right now. I mean, the lot square, right? Yeah. Yeah, that, as you can see, it doesn't, it would probably not meet the lot square that you would require today. But when you take in the additional portion of property, and since it's pre-existing non-conforming, the lot square is not an issue unless anybody wanted to improve the property. But what it does is it basically gives additional setback area and brings all the driveway encroachments on driveway encroachments and lawn encroachments back onto the Tozinski property. So it becomes more conforming in size and more in conforming with regard to lot square.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board before this matter is closed? Okay, that will close the deliberations. So now the board we have, I think the next step is before we vote on this matter, we can do the minutes from the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting on, I believe they were October 1st?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Margaret Lee, 26 Overlook Drive. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
All in favor? Say aye.
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 Okay, they passed. So so now going to this matter at hand. Any other, Ron had his comments initially. Any other comments, or does someone want to make a motion? Oh, and by the way, who's sitting? I think it's going to be Ron, Sarah, Ben, Brandon, and Margaret. Is that correct? Those are the 5 sitting on this matter for tonight. So is there a motion that someone wants to make, or any comments?
This is Ron Stomack. I move that the variance be granted as requested.
I'll second it.
Margaret, you're muted, Margaret.
Oops, I just unmuted my, Margaret Lee, I make a motion, I second the motion.
Okay, that's 2. Is there a motion to approve? Brandon?
Yes, motion to approve.
So I guess Sarah?
I'll second the motion.
Well, we're not, just to be clear, we're not seconding at this point. Are you calling roll for the actual?
Yes, we're going to make a roll for the actual motion. I think there was 2. There was a motion and there was a second to approve. So now we're going to actual vote. So, motion to approve. Aye.
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 So if I count correctly, that's 5-0, unanimous approval of the motion for the variance.
Thank you, folks. Hope you have a nice holiday and appreciate your attention and patience. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Is there any other matters, Kathleen, for tonight?
Not for tonight. At the last meeting, you guys voted on your schedule for 2025. So we'll see everybody next year.
Perfect.
Thanks,
So
everyone.
meeting adjourned, 7:26. Have a good night, everyone.
Happy holidays,
Thank you.
everybody.